So thanks everybody for coming. My name is Mike Shintaku, and I teach here at UH-Hilo. And what happened was, this is Popo. I'll introduce Popo some more later. Maybe the most important guy for this story. So what happened was, one day I was visiting the Popo, and he had some taro seedlings, kalo seedlings. So I took a picture, and I put it on Facebook. I put it on Facebook and got like, Bobby got interested in all the taro seedlings. So then, one thing led to another, and then Bobby Ebanez, I grew up with him. I've known him since I was in the first grade. We used to play together after school. And I'm Facebook friends with him. He lives on Oahu now, so I kind of lost track of him. But then this kalo seedlings thing kind of brought us back together. And he got very interested. He asked me to get his talk. So I said, sure. And that's how we're all here. So you wanted to say something about that?
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Mike is so kind to have this presentation today, and he's a professor over here in Popo. Thank you for coming. But before I start, I want to say a prayer in Hawaiian and then in English. It's kind of appropriate because of the kalo, yeah. This prayer is from my great grandmother, Nani Poe Moku Kawahini Poe Moku Kanakaole. So remember her name. E mauka e mai ka pumai, e nane e mai ka hale o kako, mai lula e lago, mai ka hikihi e ka hikihi. Mai ke hikina e ke kumohana, mai ke uka e hikai. Mai loko i wapu, ka ia, malama ia, e pele aku, ina, ko o pilikia, ana i ko kako, nohona, amama uanoa. Okay, ako, bless us here from the time we were born. We thank you for the many blessings. We ask the Lord to watch over us and make sure we go home safely. I want to thank Michael and Popo for doing the presentation, as well as Uncle Jerry and the other constituents here that we all want to learn, and maybe some whoever's watching on the video. So thank you, Lord, for all the blessings. We ask these prayers in your name. Amen. Thank you. Sorry. I have a condition called congestive heart failure, and for 10 years now. And I'm retired, and my just told me just the other day when I go visit him, he said, Bobby, you gotta eat taro, because none of the, locomotive and stuff is not gonna do it. So now I've been trying to train my eating habits, so I think all of us should go back to that. Sustainability is what you need fresh foods, in wherever you live, and especially Hawaii. So as far as the political situation, I'm a sovereignty fighter for freedom, and that's it, to the day I die, because I come from royal blood, really. My auntie was Kabena Kukui, who wrote the Hawaiian Dictionary and some other books. That's, my family's bloodline anyway. But before I start, I just want to share with you a story. His mother noticed that her son didn't want to get up and go to school. So she said, oh son, you need to get up and go to school. So, oh mom, I don't want to go to school. So why, are you sick? Said, no mom, I just don't want to go to school. So she said, well son, can you give me 2 reasons why you don't want to go to school? She said, well mom, the teachers in school, I don't get along. And the children, mom, they hate me, the children. Oh boy, but you still gotta go up and go to school, and get up and go to school. So he asked his mother, so mom, can you give me 2 reasons why I should go to school? Well, she looked at the son and she said, well son, first of all, you are 42 years old, and second, you're the principal. It talks about relationship. if you look at it, I was in insurance. I was the insurance administrator for commitment schools for 3 years, doing, unfortunately, investigations, which I already know. So, my job, throughout my career is to working with relationships, both business and as well as personal. To get marketing information and so on. And that's what we have right today. We're all going to disagree. I disagree with some points about sovereignty or whatever. But at the end, we gotta love each other. That's all. If you hate me or whatever, that's your kulian. I'm moving on. So that's where I come from. But I'll just turn it over to you, Mike.
Okay.
And Delia. Thank you.
So I have, my plan is, I want to talk maybe for 35, 40 minutes. I don't want to talk too long. And then, but this room, I see there's a lot of expertise on kalo in this room. So we could go and have a room reserved till noon, if we gotta go to noon. But I think it's best if my plan was just to explain what we're doing, and then kind of get out of the way, and then maybe we can have a discussion after this. Okay? I gotta decide on whether or not, how to do this lights now. Let's see. Oh, perfect. How is that? Okay. All right, so, let's see, I have a pointer. It's very informal, so if anybody has any questions, just you guys can talk anytime. So this is the Facebook post that started all this. I put this picture up. So I was visiting with Popo. He had this on the bench, and it's all kalo seedlings. So I put the picture up. It said kalo seedlings, and then Jeffrey Gomes responded from Paula. Yeah. And he said, kalo has seeds, and then that whole started the whole trying to explain all this stuff. So that's why we're here today, just to explain how and maybe why we do this. Here's another picture of the seedlings. There's maybe one or two more pictures. So a little bit closer look. They're real small. It's amazing to see small taro plants like this. So this is, and I took that picture on June 9. Yeah. I took that picture on June 9. I didn't put it on Facebook till June 17. I didn't post a picture till June 17, and then this is what it looks like 6 weeks later. Wow. So I went back and took that second picture. And now, it's some of the plants in here, no? Yeah. So this is, so some background, just like big picture stuff. So kalo in the planet, more than 3/4 of the kalo now is grown in Africa. It's amazing. It's a good crop for the tropics up, and it took off in Africa. All this in blue is Africa, and almost all in 3 countries: Nigeria, Cameroon, and Ghana. Nigeria grows almost half, like this much, almost half, more than a third of the kalo on the planet. Yeah, and then Cameroon and Ghana, the rest, and then this is China. We are here in this liver, the Americans. This is Oceania, like Papua New Guinea, Vanuatu. But this is Nigeria. This is what happened in Nigeria. Look how it increased. From 95, in the next few years, it just shot up. It's a good crop. We adopted it. Plenty of people started to grow it and eat. And it even became an export crop for them. And then here, right here, 2009, you see this happen. Yeah. And what happened there is taro leaf blight. So taro leaf blight, so in Africa, they're growing taro. They didn't have taro leaf blight. Taro leaf blight is caused by this Phytophthora colocacea. It's like a fungus. Yeah, it's a mold. Some people call it a water mold. This is what taro leaf blight looks like. I have some more pictures. Yeah, so basically Phytophthora will just eat it, just like that. Yeah, Phytophthora. This one is Phytophthora colocacea. Maybe you guys heard of, there's a related organism, Phytophthora infestans. Phytophthora infestans wiped out the potato in Ireland in 1845. It made over 2 million Irish people leave Ireland because it killed all the potatoes. And in 1845, they didn't have another crop to eat. Caused a famine. It's one of the biggest famines Anyway, so this is closely related and does the same thing. In the, in the petri dish, in the microscope, it looks the same. It's a very similar organism. And this is, so there's a few more pictures, so I'll just go through these pictures. So this is these spots. So every spot is a spot where the fungus is growing. And it's a blight. So what happens is the spots just get, like today it's that big, the next day it's like twice as big, and bigger, until the thing just, until you get like this, where you start losing a lot of tissue like this. Yeah. And because it is like a fungus that has spores, and the spores kind of spread and causes disease. Phytophthora colocaceae is the biggest problem for taro production worldwide. Yeah, because you saw what happened in Nigeria. And then, so Nigeria, since they grow so much of the world's kalo, yeah, so this is the world's production. You can see that outbreak in 2009 affected like the world's production of kalo. And this is a more dramatic one. Samoa. Samoa didn't have Phytophthora colocaceae until 1993. In 1993, that thing came in, and in Samoa they're all growing one variety of kalo. I think it's Mibui, and it's very susceptible. We can't even grow it here. And just, you can see what it did. Yeah, so it went from 35,000 metric tons down to almost nothing. And then, so this is something important to remember. So then, this is kind of what production looks like when there's no Phytophthora. Phytophthora comes in, and then they started bringing in some more tolerant, resistant varieties, some from Hawaii, and then they plant those. And then, so it comes back up, but it's never going to get back up. Once Phytophthora comes in, it's real hard. It makes it way harder to produce already. Yeah. In Hawaii, we've had Phytophthora colocaceae since like the 1920s. It's been here for a long time. Yeah. So you don't see that kind of decrease, but you see the steady decrease. This decrease is not because of Phytophthora, but just other things. Market, a lot of it is just market, stuff like that. Yeah. Let me make sure we got everything. So every place that Phytophthora shows up, it really affects taro production. Yeah. So what happened then was, people started to look at, I wonder if something, I have these handouts and I forgot them. Once I gave you that. Some people got it already. Yeah. So, if anybody didn't get a handout, can you raise your hand? In the meantime, so people started to look around for kalo that had resistance to taro leaf blight. In the 1990s, here in Hawaii, they started looking at some of these Palawan varieties. And the Palawan varieties, when they planted those out, you can see on the right side, this is the yield of fresh weight. And then, like when you compare them to Maui Lehua and Panlong, is a Chinese thing. Yeah. The Palawan varieties, like about twice as much. Yes. So the production is way higher for the Palawan varieties. And then, all these they start with P. These are the Palawan varieties. Yeah. Yield per acre. This is a Chinese taro. Chinese taro is pretty susceptible. Yeah. So in Hawaii, the situation in Hawaii now is the kalo that is grown is susceptible. You see lesions with taro leaf blight, but the plants are tolerant. They don't just die. You can lose a lot of tissue, but you can get a crop still. Yeah. That's kind of how we are now. But these Palawan varieties seem to do very well. And and if you look at the leaves, Dwight Sato did this back in the 90s. And if you look at the leaves, this is good leaves in blue, and damaged leaves means there's blight on the leaves in kind of red. Yeah? And then, it doesn't say here, but, he said in his observations that this is because of taro leaf blight. All the leaf damage was caused by leaf blight. Yeah. So the Palawan varieties had better and, more good leaves, less damaged leaves. And you know, a leaf is a solar panel, collects the energy for the sugar and all this. So then all that sugar feeds the corn, right? So then that's why production is better when you get more leaves. Yeah. But this is where so then this is Dwight's conclusion, 1999. So he had cooperators, growers grow the Palawan, and then we had these taste tests, and in the taste tests, nobody liked the Palawan varieties. It's sort of bad, especially for the poi. Yeah. For a table taro, when you just cook on it, that when you just cut into chunks, that was okay, but the poi wasn't good. The texture wasn't as good, the flavor wasn't as good, and color. A lot of people like purple poi, but you know it's not that important. I think the color, but people scored it lower. So in the end, the growers did not, you know, the commercial growers didn't adopt. They're not interested in adopting the Palawan varieties, even though they had better resistance to taro leaf blight, and the production was better. Yeah. So what happens then is, so then here, this picture, let's imagine that this is a Palawan variety here, this is a Hawaiian variety here. So then the idea is maybe we can cross them. Yeah. So when you do a cross, basically, you might take pollen from this plant and fertilize the eggs on this plant, and then you get the hybrid plant, which is half Palawan, half Hawaiian, right? So, and cocoa does this. So then we do the cross, and then you end up with, like from one event, you take a flower, you put pollen on it, from one, that develop into a seed pod. From one seed pod, you get hundreds of seeds. Yeah, so then that's kind of illustrated here. All the seeds are half Hawaiian, half Palawan. But they're all different from each other. It's just like siblings, like me and my sister, like we look different from each other, right? It's like they're siblings, but there's a little bit of difference between every one. But everyone is still half Hawaiian, half Palawan. So then what is done is you look at all the seedlings, and then you go find the best one. Yeah. So you choose one. This is the best hybrid. Then you take that hybrid and you cross it back to, in this case, the Hawaiian parent, or we call it the recurrent parent. Yeah, when you do that cross, the result can be 3/4 Hawaiian and 1/4 Palawan. Right? And then, so this, I drew it like this, but you gotta imagine now, hundreds. Yeah? Then you select the best one, with resistance, grows good. Then you do another back cross. Yeah? Now it's 1/8 Palawan. And then at the end of 7 back crosses, it's less than 1% Palawan now. Yeah? But at every time you do that, you select for the, every time you do that, you get a couple hundred or 500, however many. Plant them all out. So then this kind of stuff takes a lot of space and time and labor and effort. So then you select the best one, go to the next step. Select the best one, go to the next step. Select the best one, go to the next step. So 7 generations, that's a long time. You can get something this is kind of a one way to move a gene from one plant into another plant. Yeah. In this case, what we're interested in is this plant has resistance to taro leaf blight. Yeah. So then that thing, we just want to move that into here, but only that. So we want to keep the Hawaiian plant with all Hawaiian characteristics, but we want resistance from here into. So the plan is to eventually get to here. We're not even close to that. But we're on that road. This has been a long road. People have been doing this for a long time. In the 70s, this guy Arnold Mellin in Paloa was first crossing Hawaiian kalo. And then in the 80s, Ramon de la Peña on Kauai started crossing the Hawaiian varieties with Palawan varieties, other varieties. And Eduardo Trujillo in the early 90s in Hamakua with Tom Menezes was crossing the Hawaiian with the Palawan taro varieties. Yeah? And then 2000, John Cho started in the 90s too, though, on Maui. He was crossing the Hawaiian varieties with varieties from all over. Yeah. So it's kind of sequential. It started, on Oahu, and then the effort, and then these efforts, Ramon and Eduardo and then John, they're all supported by UH scientists. Yeah, so this was on Kauai. Then he retired. Then John on Maui was doing it for a while. John retired recently. So now Popo is kind of doing everything. Yeah. So here, you know, and then back to the first question from Jeffrey Williams was, kalo is seedlings, and then the answer is yes, but you know, you don't see seedlings normally because you gotta. The only way is you have to hand pollinate. So this is the diagram of a flower. This is a picture of a flower. Yeah, photograph, and this is a flower when it's open. Yeah, so this is this picture is open, and earlier it looks like this. And up here is pollen. Up here is the eggs. So this is the female part down here, and the male part up here. Yeah. So then let me see if there's a picture here. Okay, so this is the male part up here, the female part down here. Yeah. So what happens is the female before the pollen's ready, the female part is ready, is open, and it's receptive for only 2 days or something. Something like 2 days.
Maybe less than that.
Yeah, maybe 1 day. It's not receptive for long, so it's open and ready, and that's when you can pollinate. Yeah. And then it's not receptive anymore. After that happens, then the pollen's ready. Yeah. So this flower, you're not gonna have the pollen from this flower fertilizing this female part. Yeah. Because this female part can be ready, this is not ready. When this is ready, this is not. This pollen ready. So what has to be done is you gotta plant blocks, and Popo will explain this some more later. You gotta plant blocks. And then, and then this block, you have to walk through every day and look for a flower. Yeah? This block, walk through every day and look for a flower. And then, when you see flowers, because you guys probably know the kalo, you don't see flowers that often. Sometimes you see flowers, sometimes not. So if you see a flower, you put in a flag. And then, tomorrow you can check the flowers. And then, when you find a flower with a female part is ready, with a smell, a nice smell, then you gotta cross your fingers, you gotta hope that you can find a flower where the pollen is ready. Yeah, and then if you find that, then you grab that pollen and then you can do fertilization. So some of the crosses, it'd be good if all the crosses were planned, but sometimes the crosses are not planned, they're opportunistic because this flower is ready, that flower is ready. So sometimes when the flowers are ready dictates what crosses get made. Yeah. So, this plant, the only way to get seedlings in Hawaii is to hand pollinate and do this whole thing with the flags, check the plant, check the flowers every day. But in Australia, Papua New Guinea, and in Indonesia, they have seedlings. The plant naturally sets seeds because there's these flies, small flies. They're like in the same family as the flies that always are bananas, the small fruit flies. They're related to those, so they're that kind of size flies. They're very small, and when there's a smell, when the female part's ready, they go in. Yeah, and then they kind of fly around, and they visit flowers, and then they pollinate the plants. That's, in some ways it's good, because you can end up with more diversity in the taro population than runners. Yeah? And then you have the central core, and then you have the stem, and then they kind of act weedy, and it's very hard to manage them. So in places they have the fly, kalo can be a weed, can be hard to manage. So anyway, so we don't have this fly here, yeah. And it's not a good idea to introduce that fly. This is all we don't have. Oh, here's a picture of so this flower. This is the picture. This came from a article about the fly, and an article said this is the stage where the flies will enter the flower. Yeah. Anyway, so they go in there. They end up and then that fly only lives with taro. It's a real close association where they have that fly. They only live with taro. They don't live with anything else. And they go in. Like 20, 30 flies will go inside the female part and start laying eggs. And then the larvae will burrow into the spadix. And some go up. There's 2 species of flies. And one species will go up and then mature in here. The other species will stay down and then mature in here. Interesting. So, but without the fly, done manually. This is a seed pod and some seedlings with a coin to show how small the seedlings are. And then we're back to where we were. Yeah?
I have a question about
Yeah.
the fly.
Yep.
Where I am over in South Kona, there's lots of the wild taro.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it spreads all over, it's weedy. So,
There's no seedlings though, I think. All right.
what's that?
You don't see seedlings though, right?
Well, new ones pop up.
Yeah.
Very, is that all right? So,
Yeah.
so then there's no fly with that one then?
We don't, as far as I know, we don't have the fly.
Okay.
Yeah. If we did, I think we would see seeds and seedlings with kalo, but we don't. As far as I know, we don't. So back where we started, the seedlings, and then 6 weeks later, and then a little bit later, how old are these? 4 to 5 months old. And then, so you can see like this kind of stuff, because from one cross you get several hundred seedlings. And then they go over to the bench, and they go to the field, and you cannot move everything that came up, in your small community plot at first. You cannot move everything into the field. So at every step, you gotta select. Yeah. So you don't take everything into these benches and then from here to the field, not everything goes. So all of the rest of it is just select which one to select. Yeah.
When you're crossbreeding them, how do you test for that gene and its presence?
For resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you inoculate them?
Yeah. So what we do is, I have some slides later on. So what we do is we take leaf tissue from the plants, and then we take discs. We bring the discs up to the lab up here, and then we inoculate them with Phytophthora. And it's, on a disc like this big, we put a small drop of water with some Phytophthora in there, and then tomorrow there's nothing. 2 days later, you start seeing a small spot. 3 days usually, there's about that big. There's a necrotic spot already, and then by 4 days, the disc is gone. Usually, for most tissue, but some, So then we measure the size of the lesion, and the bigger the lesion is, the less resistant it is. The smaller, we have some that no lesion at all. Got all excited. Then put them out in the field, the plants, they got lesions out in the field. Because, so then, what happened was, we inoculated them in here, right? So I got some taro leaf blight from Panayama. And then, I was growing it up in the lab over here, and I was using that to inoculate everything. And some real resistant, some of these plants. We put them out in Pickwick Hill, they got some blight. So then I went and got some Phytophthora from Pickwick Hill, brought them in, and then that makes lesions. And then I just had a student, Lily, she went out and got like 20 isolates, 20 different Phytophoras from Panayama and Pickwick Hill. And she put them on discs, and we saw all kinds of, some resistant to this, not resistant to that, not resistant to that. So, yeah, so now we have a collection, and then we got to inoculate them with at least 2. So we found the ones that cause the biggest lesions on the most plants, and then now when we do the challenges, we challenge with that. So basically, long story short, these plants, we take discs, bring them into the lab, challenge them with Phytophthora, see how big the lesions. The ones with small lesions, we think, are good, and we move out to the field. And for the most part, it's been pretty good, because we have some that's out in the field now, and some of them have no lesions. Your last one, and then this 255. I'll talk about this later. It's no lesions. Some of them are good, but back to the earlier problem. Some of them do well in the field; they grow well, but the poi, not very good. Yeah.
What about the taste of the hybrid?
Yeah. So
taro?
then,
does it taste like the taro that we normally eat?
sometimes not. So I think that maybe the next slide. So then, yeah. So the next step after this, so in the field, we walk through the field. I should mention that Susan Miyasaka does a lot of this work. Yeah, so a lot of this field work she's in charge of. So, they get, after they go out in the field, harvest, And when it's harvested, we weigh the corn and measure how much rot, and then chop it up and put the corns in an oven, dry it down, and get dry weight, so we can compare production, right? And then the ones that do good, so the ones that do good in the disc test, go out in the field to see if they do good. The ones that do good in the disc test and the field, and they do good in the field, then they go for toy taste test. Yeah, so this here, Maui Lihua, it's a blind taste test. This is labeled. But when we do the taste test, nothing is labeled. They just have numbers. And you just score them, and you rank them, and you turn in your paper. And then afterwards, we go through and see how they rank. This is Maui Lihua, 176 is always Maui Lihua. Very, very hard to beat Maui Lihua. Very few. I don't know if does anything beat Maui Lihua yet? Consistently. So yeah, we get close, but I think, part of it is people are so used to eating Maui Lihua. They like Maui Lihua. And when they eat poi, they go, oh, this tastes like Maui Lihua. So there's some expectation. And, if you go and because when we go in, we don't know. The first one you taste, often is not Maui Lihua, but sometimes it's good.
The ones right next to the Maui Lihua, the 1025 297 and the 1025 379,
Yeah.
they are comparable to the Maui Lihua, and sometimes they'll give them in certain tests.
And the color is about the same too. Oh, you have a question?
Oh, no. I have a question.
Yeah, but you guys asked me. That's right. And this is the answer. Yeah, so this is interesting. This is from the last taste test. This is, Maui Lihua went into tissue culture. And then from tissue culture, put them out in the field, and the color is different. But the taste was the same. Yeah, I don't know. Going through tissue culture, the change of color of the corn, but the taste was. These are, I don't know. Here's another picture. This kind of shows, these four come from one cross, but they're four different plants. Yeah. And the 1047, this comes from one cross, but they're all different plants. This one has you get an idea of the different colors out there.
What was all those tests? Your survey said like, what is the best poi? I mean, if I did the test not knowing what variety, and come up with a number, what was the most prominent one that you folks found?
Everybody likes Maui Lihua.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Everybody likes Maui Lihua, but then, like Popo was saying, is 1025, 297, and 379 are doing good. And they, these are out in the field too.
The 2062.
This one. Oh! I did not score that. But this one, I know I didn't bring pictures of this. But, what I should have done, maybe for next time, I took pictures of these plants in the field, and the 2063, 803, they're so big, they tower over everything else in there. And then Maui Lihua is kind of medium size. But some of these hybrids are really, really big. This 2063 is just amazing, so big. Yeah, anyway, so that's kind of the process. You go through and select, because again, so every time you start with big numbers, and then by the time you get to the field, that number got to be pretty small, because the space and labor and time. So there's all this culling, selection. So, and then this is kind of the end of the line, the last test. And then the ones that do well from here, then they go into tissue culture to multiply them up, and then they get distributed. We have a strict rule. Popo reminded me that we don't release any of these hybrids, because like all this is going on. When Dwight was doing this work and John was doing this work, they were, like giving the Palauan varieties to people, some of the hybrids to people. And what happened was, there was a concern. So Uncle Jerry knows this very well and Uncle Jerry is, we have a collection of Hawaiian kalo out here. There's one on Kauai, there's one on Molokai, on Oahu, Maui, and then, there's over 70 varieties of Hawaiian kalo. And if something gets mislabeled, or pigs get in your field and mix stuff up, you can imagine, the collection, we only have like 5 plants, 5 Maui Lihua, 5 Polo Blue, 5 this, 5 that, right? So when things get mixed up, it's hard. Like me, I could never go in and figure out what is what. So we have to call Uncle Jerry to go tell us what is what. Very few people can look at a kalo plant and tell you what variety it is. So the issue was that the Hawaiian variety, the ancestral varieties, there used to be hundreds, yeah? But then something like Phytophthora came in, the Shin mosaic virus came in, and at points people were growing far less kalo. So a lot of them were lost. There's some, I don't know, Jerry, do you know how many are left now? 80. Is there 80?
I think we still haven't confirmed. We brought back 3 varieties that was lost previously. But there's some that we don't think it's hybrids. We're going to need to wait for the next DNA test to come up.
Yeah. Okay. So altogether, how many? Do you know? How many?
I'll be comfortable with 72.
72. Okay. Yeah. So there's obviously, it's a lot. It's kind of a lot. So it's hard to keep that straight. And with all the hybrids and stuff we're getting around, people, got to the point where people were not sure what they were growing. And because we're interested in preserving the ancestral varieties, we started looking at tools to identify kalo, genetics of kalo. So that's what the DNA testing is for. So we tried all kinds of tests. John Cho was trying a few methods and techniques, and we tried a few methods and techniques, and the last one we tried worked the best. And what we did is basically we ended up, the DNA sequencing now is so amazing. You can sequence a lot of DNA really fast. And so what we did was we got 73 Hawaiian varieties, 12 hybrids, 6 colons, and then we sent them to this facility and they do DNA sequencing. And then they got, from that DNA, they got 220 million DNA reads, about 100 bases each. So we send them, so we extract DNA, we send it to New York, where they do this, and they just send us back a file. And the file was like 15 gigabases, huge file. And then that file is just DNA sequence. So basically it's just DNA sequence with all this kalo that we sent. And then this is what 100 bases looks like. Yeah. And then DNA, there's only 4 bases, 4 different entities in DNA, A, C, G, and T. Yeah. So this string is just A, C, G, T, some sequence. The important part is the sequence. Yeah. So this is 100 bases. Yeah. So what we did was, well, the computer does this. So after we get the sequence back, what we do is we, like this sequence from this plant, we look at all the other plants to see if we can find this sequence. And the computer does that for us because we can do it by hand. Right? So basically what it does is the computer will find that sequence in all the samples. So they can line them all up. The computer lines them all up, and if there's a difference, like there's a difference here, I had to change that one. This position is a C here, is an A there. And all this is A, and this is a C. Yeah? That's one difference. That's very important. That's what's called a SNP. A SNP is it's short for single nucleotide polymorphism. It's one spot where it's different. So here's the 2 sequences aligned. So we found this sequence in this plant, found the same sequence in another plant, pretty much the same sequence, except for one position. That's a SNP. Yeah. So then the thing is, basically the computer finds all the SNPs in all our samples. And then these are the places, let's say, in this example, maybe you can see that. In this example here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're all the same as each other, right? And then these 4 are different at that one position. These 2 are different at this one position here, right? But maybe you can see now that, like this, we can say that these 2 are more like each other, yeah? And they're related to these 4. And then these 5 on the outside are different. So then we can we can get an idea of what's closer to what. So the ones on the outside, a little bit closer to these 4, and then these 2 in here, a little bit closer to these. So we can kind of estimate genetic difference by finding these SNPs and then comparing them with each other. You guys follow that? Yeah, so then we're able to make this tree. And I see that this is way too small to read, and that is why you got that handout. Yes. So this tree, this is called a phylogram. Yeah, it's very much like this one. This one is, spread out a little bit better. So let me use this to illustrate what a phylogram is. A phylogram is a picture that shows how related one plant is to another plant. And the genetic distance, for instance, between Bunlong and Iliwawa is this distance here. The distance from here all the way down to there, and then back up. Yeah? So the distance of the line that connects that two is the genetic distance. So Bunlong and Iliwawa are outs. Bunlong is Chinese town. According to this, Iliwawa is probably Chinese town. But, yeah, and then, like, you can see that there's these little groupings of, like, in this little cluster over here, Pico Ele and Uahia Pele. That, if you follow that line from here, you only go to here, and you come back out. That's kind of a short trip. Yeah. So those two are more closely related. Yeah, so that's what a phylogram is. So then basically, this picture, this phylogram shows you what's related to what. Yeah. And then this is the biggest cluster here. We're trying to figure out, so that this tells you what's related to what. The way I have it presented here, what it doesn't tell you is what came first. Yeah, so it doesn't tell you like, oh, we have this plant, and then there's some mutations, and then it became this. And then there's some mutations that became that. So that's what we tried to do with this one. This one is more like that. So here's our cluster, and then this group is related to this group. And this is supposed to kind of be able to show kind of like a progression. Yeah. This is all preliminary. Don't forget. So if you share this picture with somebody, it's all preliminary. These two, you spend some time with these two pictures, you'll see that they are not exactly the same. Most of these groupings are consistent between this and this. But some of it, like this one here, what bothers me about this picture here is up there is Makalao and Iliwao. Yeah. And that, that's not consistent with this. Makalao is over here. The rest is kind of, so then we're trying to work that out. We're just collecting more data. So basically, this is all DNA sequence. So that we over the summer we sent some more DNA in to get sequenced. We got the sequence back. That helps us a little bit more. Right now, what we're trying to do is make a kind of a map so we can get an idea of where these SNPs are. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah?
You know the Palans, the half-breed Palans, if you know, that you guys call,
The hybrids.
the ones you call,
Yeah.
the hybrids
Yeah,
you
yeah.
call, you make sure you kill them, so you don't have thousands and thousands of
Oh,
Palan half-breeds.
yeah.
Out of the hybrids, that's one of the things that, when we started the program, that's one thing I wanted it done. And if that wasn't done, I wasn't going to do this at all. And it's because of some of the questions that we have of that getting out in the public and being released that way. So I
Yeah.
will cover that when I spoke.
Yeah. Because the last time we did a harvest, I wanted to get some Maranego to plant. So I went and got some hoodies and Popo reminded me, don't take any hybrids. But no hybrids get released. So far, I think hybrids have actually been released yet, but yeah. So we're going through this whole process and everything, you can talk to Popo about this later on, but then like the seedlings, at some point, pretty early on, everyone is given a number, a name, basically, an identifier. And then as it moves through, it keeps track of every plant. Yeah. So we have all the records, we have all the records of every plant that we have, the parents, the grandparents, all that stuff. That stuff is very important. Oh, it's 9:48. And you know what, I'll go through these real fast. So, Taro leaf blight, this is, somebody asked me the question earlier on the Zoom, so then this is kind of what we do. This Taro leaf blight, this is a lesion on the leaf. This is Phytophthora. It's like a fungus, right? This is a sporangia, it's like a spore. That thing germinates. It's very, very small. You can't see it with the naked eye, but if you see a lesion like this, on the edge of a lesion, you'll see this kind of whitish. That is all of that is like a mat of like sporangium. It's a lot of sporangium. Yeah.
Would you go back to that picture?
Yeah.
Where's that picture taken at?
I think this is Pineapple.
It just looks like right against my holly. You know?
Oh. Could be, but this is like 10 years old, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So it's old.
I got one looking exactly like that.
And there's like the spray, the other microscope, this is sporangia, look like these little, it's hard to see. This. Yeah. And this is supposed to be video, but I cannot get it to work on. But it has those zoospores are in there, and they kind of swim around, and they pop out, and they swim around. Yeah, because these spores, you know, the sporangia, the zoospores, they swim around, and then in back, it's really nasty, this thing.
Is it a country?
That's windborne disease, right?
Yeah.
It's windborne.
Can be. But the spores are kind of big, so generally it's not, you know, some other things like powdery mildews are really windborne. This one, it can be windborne, and I guess, yeah, you can say it is windborne. But some
I didn't
places,
used to have one, all of a sudden I got one now.
yeah, and then like us, right, our college over here, we have kalo in the back. Well, we don't have taro leaf like there. So I don't know. It's just, yeah, we're trying to keep it out. Yeah, so you can have places without it, and if you do, that's, you know, you just gotta be careful not to get it in. So this is on, you can grow it on a petri dish. This is it on a petri dish. You can see this circle, hard to see. It's fluffy, white, on the petri dish. And then, like after one day, it can be like this. After 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, you can kind of see the concentric things. It's like the daily thing. Yeah. And then on a leaf, it's the same kind of growth. You know what I mean? So then on a petri dish, it kind of mirrors what happens on a leaf. So this is the leaf disc assay I was talking about. So we bring in, so this is bunlong, Chinese taro. That's susceptible. We get big lesions with bunlong every time. This is a Palawan, and this is one of the hybrids up here. Yeah. 2 days, you can only see a small lesion. 3 days, you can see that lesion there. This lesion is there, and this is a Palawan. This lesion is about half the size of that. So that's what we kind of measure. The smaller the lesion, they say the one with smaller lesions do better in the field. In general, yeah. And this is a bunlong here, Palawan, and 2 hybrids. Yeah, so you can see bunlong, the lesion is the biggest. And then I think there's 2 Hawaiian varieties. Bunlong, 2 Hawaiian, and this is a Palawan variety. So that's what we do. Like every plant, we get 4 discs. We inoculate all 4 discs. We measure them, get the average lesion size, and then we plot them on these graphs. So bunlong is 1. Yeah, anything smaller than 1 is like point something, right? So all Hawaiian and Palawan varieties, we put them on. We can display them like this. So these varieties, a lot of them, and I guess most of them would fall, the lesion size between about 0.7, 0.8 the size of bunlong. Yeah. And then this is one of the hybrids. It's a little bit better. You can see the bars are to the left a little bit. And this is 1022. This is a different hybrid. You can see this is more susceptible than bunlong. The lesions are bigger than bunlong. 1026. And then this is the one. We got all excited by this. These we had planting plants. About 15% of the plants, no lesion at all. But then we put them out in the field at Pepper and started to see lesions. So it's a complicated story. But so this is a picture of it. I don't know if you can see, but this is 3 days. So no lesion on these two. Yeah, and lesions on these. So anyway, I think and that's it. So anybody has any? Yeah.
How many strains of Pachacra do you think there are?
Oh, I think it depends on how you. Basically, it is. If you went out today and got some Pachacra and isolated it, that's one string. And if you went on and got 5 from 5 different leaves, that would be 5 different strings. For us, the way we identify them, because we would give them different numbers, and we would maintain them, and then we just see how they're different. Lily Hirayde, she did this kind of recently. She got 20 from the field, brought them all in. It's amazing. Like I think 12. She had 12 from Panaeva, and those were different from each other. Yeah. Yeah.
At what point do you think it's kind of like not worth it because there's so many? I mean, Phytophthora is a living thing. It's always changing and evolving.
Yeah.
Are you ever going to find a strain, or you be able to hybridize a strain that will be immune to all of them? Probably not, right?
I don't know. I don't know. Right now, the Palawan ones are out in the field, they do good. One of the hybrids, 255, and this other one that Popo was talking about, no lesions. Out in Pipikeo, there's a lot of leaf blight out there in Pipikeo.
It's like a special
Because that
strain.
field, those strains, right now, those strains are doing good. But, and then that field, I was just out there last week, there's a lot of leaf blight out there on the Harley Wall. And so, and some of the hybrids too, but 2 hybrids have no lesion at all. So, maybe that thing to do now is, I guess we can just talk. But, honestly, this whole thing about crossing the taro, I never did myself. I learned how to explain it, use the pictures. So Popo is the person who does all that, and probably you're interested in actually, finding out how to do the crosses, right? Or maybe it's a secret, you want to call it. Not the easiest. Maybe I'll turn it over, yeah.
I just brought up a good point about not only the disease, the fungi, but the plant itself, they're dynamic organisms, so they move, the environmental or whatever, so they're always moving. So I think the focus on disease prevention should go more into prevention. And when I say prevention, I'm talking about environment. Today, the taro growers are pushed by the limitation of water, land base, so everything is cut short. And this puts the plant into stress. And then they become more susceptible to disease. It would be very ideal, and it's idealistic to think that when you have your aloe, this is the max amount of production you can have out of that at its ideal culture, method of planting. It's when we push that limit, then we get into trouble. So yeah, it's a cat chasing its tail circle. You're trying to prevent this disease, but even you get a solution, it changes on you. And the other point I wanted to talk about was this idea about seeds. When we first started, there was only one recorded historically. I've heard of the Mana Ele being the one that somebody found that seeded and fell in the aloe and it grew. Today we have 2 documentation of seed being grown, photo documents, and guys are keeping track of it. But my concern is, just like when we lost a lot of our varieties, it's gone forever, except when Akupuna died. That's not true. We found 3 that were lost as early as the 80s, early 80s, and gone in all of the collections. They're coming back. And how they're coming back is through somatic mutations. Hawaiians call it kahuli, it changes. We have many great examples. If you go to kalo cultivars of Hawaii and the South Pacific on Facebook, you'll see a lot of these mutations coming in. Normally they only go 1 generation, then it'll revert back, yeah? But we're now seeing them holding their new kahuli. And so we're having striped taro that we never saw in non-striped, like the picos. We're also realizing that the Daishin mosaic virus causes a lot of those stripes and striations in the huli. So it's a really exciting times for us because now we're almost international-wide doing the taro kind of work through the media or Facebook instantaneously pick up. Somebody got a runner on a Manabulu, bang, he got it 3 seconds later, he's posting a photo. And I think it's, for me, it's super exciting because I now have about at least almost handful for certain, people who are aggressively trying to document what we have, and in the process of finding some very interesting things happening, how they kapuli, and how as we go, like I'm sure when you make your tissue culture, you have, you get 2 parents, they're green, and yet the baby come out brown. We have a lot of this exciting things. And so the more people are involved and the education of it, I think is really important for saving our diversity of our varieties.
I have something to say on that, Jerry said, he said education. Education is very important in this state, because we're going to educate the public what we're doing as far as with hybridization, or what Jerry said, with things evolving. Then a lot of the things we tend to think they came about differently. So we gotta always educate the public what we're doing. So as far as for me, I don't hide nothing what I'm doing, as far as urbanization. In fact, I just try to share that what it is, because some part too, I believe that we need some kind of urbanization to our ways, as far as like mutations coming up out there. So education is a big part of us.
One question. Are you documenting it morphologically through photos on the hybrids that you before you put it out?
Right now, we every hybrid that we get, we bring them in and we're taking photos of the leaves, of the stem, of the corm, as well as the color, what it is, and I will go into that when I.
Okay.
Me and Roshan was just doing that last week.
Yeah.
We would love to work with you because we're working on revising Bulletin 84, and we've already realized that this is just one small step. There's so much work to be done. We have many crosses out there that has never been documented. So we're working backwards, so I'm really glad to hear that you're taking that forward and you're documenting before release.
So I was thinking maybe, yes.
Oh, you come back.
No. If you need help, it's just a problem. Thanks, Bernie.